Well, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul now responding to comments made by New Jersey Governor Chris Christie at an RNC event that was in Boston last week. Governor Christie is saying that the Republican Party needs to win in 2016, in his opinion, and according to him, it can't be done with libertarians like Senator Rand Paul. Here's Rand Paul on that yesterday.
What I would say is the party's big enough for both of us. It's big enough for a lot of different Republicans. And in fact, we don't need to. This all started with him saying, oh, we don't have room for libertarian Republicans. The thing is that's how we grow our party.
Former New Hampshire Governor John Sununu served as White House Chief of Staff under President George H.W. Bush, and he was an advisor on Mitt Romney's campaign as well. Governor, welcome. Always good to have you here. Good morning, sir.
Good to be here.
What do you make of this battle between Rand Paul? I'm doing well, thanks. Between these two guys. What do you think?
Look, the party is big enough for Chris Christie and Rand Paul, and it's big enough for Governor Scott Walker and Governor Bobby Jindal and Governor Rick Perry and Governor Mike Pence and former Governor Jeb Bush and Congressman Peter King and Senator Ted Cruz and Senator Mitch McConnell, all of which are qualified to be president, and 90% of which are probably going to be running for president. The real question is the Democratic Party so small that all they can talk about is Hillary Clinton, and what are they going to do when she decides not to run?
Well, all right, we'll get to that. Let's get first to the kind of discussion that's going on between these two, because it does force a lot of questions in terms of NSA surveillance, for one thing, which we were just talking about. Rand Paul very much against it. Chris Christie saying that, we need this kind of program to keep the country safe. Where do you come down on that?
But Martha, a party doesn't have just one set of positions on every issue. A party is made up of people who agree on about 80% of the issues or 70% of the issues. Ronald Reagan made that point very clear when he was running and when he was president. That's what the Republican Party is all about.
All right, so are you saying to Chris Christie right now, are you saying to Chris Christie, you need to, expand your thought about what the Republican Party is if you think there's no room in it for libertarians?
I think Chris Christie understands that the party is going to include folks from across that full spectrum. I understand that people take a quote from here and a quote from there. When Chris Christie finishes his election for governor, and he's going to win big and then decides what he wants to do over the next few years, all of these folks, including Chris Christie, including Rand Paul, and the whole litany of folks I talked about, are going to understand for the Republican Party to win, we need them all. We did that in New Hampshire in 2010. We had a very strong libertarian contingency supporting the Republican Party. We had a strong Tea Party group supporting the Republican Party. We had the traditional Republicans involved in the party, and we won a huge victory. That's the way the party will win. And Chris Christie said he wants to win. And if he wants to win, there's not a single vote out there he's not going to be welcome receiving.
All right, but the question is, when you look at a candidate like Mitt Romney or John McCain, some people look at this group that you just talked about, and they wonder if Chris Christie is more in that category, and they say, should Republicans be backing somebody more in the Rand Paul category who really is, more of a firebrand and more of a, well, he's a libertarian and he's a Tea Party supporter, somebody who's outside of that vein, because some of those candidates who've been in the moderate camp have been unsuccessful.
Look, with all due respect, I think Mitt Romney was probably the most conservative Republican to run since Ronald Reagan, and I think Larry Kudlow and others have agreed with me on that point. So I think there's just a lot of mislabeling going on. The party is open to support from conservatives, traditional moderate Republicans, libertarians, and Tea Party. This is a party of inclusion. The Democrats are the ones that seem to have everybody way over on the left-hand side of the seesaw, and there's absolutely no balance in that party. And I think that's the message Republicans, including Chris Christie, including Ron Paul, including all who have an interest in being president, ought to be communicating out there.
Would you like to see these guys get together and form a common bond and a common front and make the argument that you just made?
Yeah, I'd like to see these guys understand that winning does mean including people across the board. It doesn't mean you all agree on everything. It doesn't mean you don't debate issues. It doesn't mean you may not have differing positions, but they're all unified. Every single one of them are unified by understanding we have to cut spending, we have to reduce taxes, we have to make this economy recover. Every single one of them knows that Obama and the Clinton strategy has been to expand government, to create government's intrusion across the board. The Democrats support Obamacare. Every single Republican there wants to repeal Obamacare, like almost 60% of the Americans do. There's much more that unites this party than divides it.
Governor John Sununu, thank you very much. We'll see what happens. There'll be some scrapping, to be sure, when we get back to business in the fall. And we'll get you back, and we'll see what you think about how it's going out there. Thank you, sir. Have a good week.
They'll all be through New Hampshire.
You bet they will. And you'll see them when they get there. Thank you, Governor.